Today, I'm gonna get a bit angry. So, trigger warning. If you don't like what I'm going to say, sorry about your luck. Tune out now if you're afraid of what follows. These are 10 films that I kind of hate. Number 1, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. This is one of the most dreadful movies I've ever seen. One of the most depressing, sour, ugly, piss color tinted, fucking god awful movies I've ever seen. It's absolutely abysmal. The people that criticize the first movie, I'm of course talking about the Michael Bay reboot remake, if you will, with Jessica Biel. As much people may criticize and hate that one, there's more of a reason to hate this one, because where I could see where people are coming from, like especially guys like Roger Ebert, like really like demolished that first movie. And again, I can see why, but like where that film in my eye like does better than some crap like this is that at least the ending is satisfying. You know, you get some sort of retribution. The criminals, the villains throughout the movie, they pay the price for their crimes. You know, Arlie Ermy gets run over at the end. Leatherface gets his arm cut off, which leads to a awesome jump scare at the end when Jessica Biel is driving away with the baby of the previous bunch of people that got killed. Like she's driving away, then all of a sudden Leatherface comes out of nowhere and swipes the chainsaw alongside the car, and I always thought that was a really effective jump scare. One of my favorites actually when it comes to jump scares, which I normally hate, but in that movie because the atmosphere was so tense and palpable. Like I thought that movie was very well done. I like the filmmaker behind it. He did the Conan the Barbarian remake as well with Jason Momoa, which I feel like is a very underrated, underappreciated movie. And that movie I had a lot of fun with, and same with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Obviously, like not fun in the same sense. Like Conan the Barbarian is more of a cheesy good time in my opinion. Like, because it's so bad at certain points, like when Conan's shoving his finger in the guy's like nose hole like that to torture him, that's kind of like a cringeworthy body horror, yet like it's darkly humorous as well. Like it's got that weird balance, and I really I really enjoyed that movie for how over the top violent and just balls to the wall action that it had. Anyhow, back to shit that I hate. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Like I don't know what more else I can say about this movie because it's just so dreadful. Like where the original had like at least something of a hopeful ending with Jessica Biel getting away with the baby and whatnot. This movie has no hope in sight at all. Like because going in knowing that it's a prequel, you know that these characters aren't going to get punished for all the crimes they commit throughout the course of this movie. So there's that. And then there's the fact that we're introduced to this new set of victims in the form of Jordana Brewster from the Fast and Furious franchise, as well as Matt Bomer. And like all these actors are great in this movie. I like these performers a lot. Like especially Matt Bomer. I think he's a very underutilized actor. I'd like to see him in more movies in general. Like I think he's on a TV series now with Bill Pullman that looks pretty good called The Sinner, so I'd be interested in seeing him in that. But this movie, it wastes so many talented people that it's really a shame. Like this is just a depraved like meaningless movie like that just leaves you feeling empty inside by the end of it. And I hate movies that are like that. You know, it doesn't have any positive message of any kind. It does have an interesting subplot involving like draft dodging and stuff like that, having to do with the Matt Bomer and his brother character. That's interesting, and I kind of like what they do with that. But all it does is lead to a bunch of like really graphic, like grotesque, gory scenes, torture scenes, and it's really unpleasant to watch. And like clearly that's what they're going for here. It is a horror movie after all. It's not supposed to make you feel like sunshine and rainbows by the end of it. But I really absolutely despise movies like this that have absolutely no hope in sight. You know, especially when they have a likable set of characters that they can do a lot with. And I understand that it wouldn't have made sense to keep even one of them alive, like by the end, because it wouldn't make sense in the context of the previous movie, this being a prequel, if one of them in this movie, the beginning, got away. Because if they did, that would immediately make them thoroughly unlikable, because you know they apparently don't do anything to bring justice to these cannibals, these psychopaths. Like that would have been like arguably even worse if they left somebody alive at the end of this movie, because they were sort of leading you on the path to thinking that Jordana Brewster was going to be the one to make it out at the end, because she even looks similar in appearance to the Jessica Biel character from the previous movie. But of course she gets killed out of nowhere. Well, not really out of nowhere. It's more so just a shock, because like, oh wow, so there's like absolutely no hope in this movie. That's great. Like, well done. Again, I don't know what else I can possibly say about this movie that I haven't already. I think this movie is absolute disgrace to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. And like it's not a very good franchise to begin with, in my opinion. Like when your best sequel is literally a parody of the original, like which has Dennis Hopper as like this dual wielding chainsaw sheriff who's out to get revenge against Leatherface. Like I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 a lot. It's a very funny horror comedy. You know, it has nothing to do with the original though. So calling it Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is kind of ridiculous, but it's a darkly funny movie, and if you're looking for a good horror like satire, it almost works in the same regard as like something like Gremlins 2, The New Batch, like where it's literally just mocking the original and everybody who hated it or whatever. But anyhow, that's enough talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. The movie's garbage. Don't watch it. And if you did, God help you, because heaven help me for having to watch this shit. Number 2, maybe I should have put this at number 1 because I got a lot to say about this trash. Number 2, Ready Player One. I am baffled with the reception to this movie. Like, it's sitting at a lot of positive reviews, like online, basically the polar opposite of Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning. But Ready Player One, this movie I was really looking forward to, not only being obviously a huge Steven Spielberg fan. I like the concept of a virtual reality world where anything is possible, and the trailers really hooked me with all their cues to past Spielberg movies and past movies that I love in general, such as The Iron Giant, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park. All these references wrapped up into one movie. It seems like it would go over well. And I guess I can understand where the positive reception comes in when it comes to that regard. However, this movie, I just felt like it was so tone deaf. You know, like and the characters are so thoroughly unlikable throughout, like except maybe one or two exceptions, which I'll get to in a bit. But the lead character, I mean, he's a schmuck. You know, like you, and like I was thinking about this, like, you know, pondering like about these choices while I was making this list. I must have went through at least like 30 or so films that I absolutely hate, but I landed on this set of 10 that I'm happy with. Like, I don't know if I should be happy about picking 10 movies that I kind of hate, but Ready Player One, it really, like, it just doesn't work for me, because you don't buy this lead character played by Ty Sheridan. I think his name is Wade Watts. The only reason I remember his name is because it's sort of similar to comic book characters like Wade Wilson and Sue Storm, Reed Richards, Matt Murdock, Peter Parker, guys like that. They have like the same like initial in their first and last name. So that's kind of a neat reference to that. But again, that's from the book that it's based off of. I haven't read the book. I never will. It sounds like YA crap, like real just dime store trash. Why the hell? And apparently, like, Christopher Nolan was attached to direct this at one point, which kind of shocks me. But I think his movie would have been much better than what we got here. Like, by a landslide, I think Nolan's film would have been way better, because he actually, unlike Steven Spielberg now, Nolan actually cares about making a good movie. Like, whether you like his movies or not, it's totally fine if you feel the one way or the other. I personally, I love his movies. I've maybe only seen one that I thought was mediocre by Christopher Nolan. But other than that, I think he's an accomplished filmmaker, and I think he's he's long overdue for getting that Oscar for Best Director. You know, he probably should have won it for something like Inception, or even way back to The Dark Knight and Prestige days. But yeah, like in the hands of Steven Spielberg, man, this movie's just a colossal mess. I mean, like the characters, you don't root for them because you don't buy them, like with all their personality traits and stuff like that. Wade Watts, or whatever his fucking name is, he's supposed to be this nerd, and yet he's this attractive looking dude, like, you know, like, who looks like he's never played a video game in his life, let alone read a comic book or even watched half the movies that he's referencing. Like fucking The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. Like, I had no idea what the fuck that was before seeing this, but they reference it in this movie. Like what? Like, how the hell do you kids know what this is? This takes place in the future, and yet you're referencing movies like The Shining and shit like that. Like, it's just so bizarre to me that this takes place in the future and nothing has come out since that has like caught people's attention. Like, it's really just bad, and I could go on for hours about everything that I hate about this movie, whether it be like the stupid fact that they also try to pull that same card on the actress playing the love interest, Olivia Cooke, who's a very attractive woman, and they give her this stupid like eye prosthetic or makeup or something like that, like to give her some sort of facial deformity. But throughout the course of the movie, it looks like it gradually disappears. So it's like what? And plus, even when like you first see it, it's like, okay, like she has a little spot like around her eye. She's still one of the finest looking actresses I've ever laid my eyes on. Like, she is a beautiful lady, like absolutely gorgeous. I don't know how anybody could look at her and go like, wow, like, oh, she's a nerdy type for sure, you know, like she's a tech whiz and stuff like that. It brings me back to like the good old days of like Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, and they cast what's her name, Denise Richards, as like a nuclear physicist or something like that, and it's just like, what like a scientist of any kind? I'm not buying it. Like, I buy her as a cheerleader, not as a scientist or a nuclear scientist at that, of any kind, you know. I just don't buy it. I'm sorry. It's totally ridiculous. And it's the same thing with all the characters in this. They just look too attractive for the roles that they're playing. And all the references are just so constant, and they just bombard you with all these stupid like video game references and like movie references and like endless pop culture trash, like just like sent out there to audiences to go like, hey, remember this, remember that? Like, gotta love them member berries, guys. And no, I hate member berries in movies. I'm sick of movies that rely on old nostalgia to cater to their audiences, to make their audiences think, hey, I just saw a good movie, when it's really something as shit as this. In my opinion, this was the worst blockbuster I think I saw in like the 2010s. Like as bad as some of those Transformers movies are, Like, at least I can watch those and have a good laugh at like how ridiculous it is. You know, like just all like how consistent Michael Bay is with making like such like monstrosities of movies. And but you know what? Like one thing I'll give those Transformers movies credit for, whereas I'll disparage this movie, is that at least the effects in those movies look amazing. Whereas in shit like this, they intentionally, it's at least it seems to me like they intentionally make the effects like look as uncanny valley as they possibly can, just as an excuse for the fact that it's in a video game. Whereas like we saw video games come out that same year of 2018 that look far better than this, in my opinion. Like look at a game like Detroit Become Human. Look at even Red Dead Redemption 2 that I think was released around the same time frame. Like this is absolute crap, man. I don't understand what the fuck critics were looking at when they saw this movie. I feel like I must have seen a totally different film as to like most of these critics out there, because like this movie, it pissed me off in so many ways. Like it even made me at one point want to root for the lead antagonist played by Ben Mendelsohn, because at one point like our lead character's mocking him for liking these Nancy Gray books or whatever her name is. Like there's some sort of movie or TV adaptation, I believe, on Netflix about these little novels that we all read as a kid, or most of us probably read as a kid. Nancy Drew, I think, were the books' names. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Nancy Drew, like teenage girl detective novels. And they were fun, and for some reason our lead character is making fun of this guy for the fact that he likes Nancy Drew, or Nancy whatever the hell her name is, I don't know. But it just strikes me as so like tasteless and mean-spirited. It's like I'm supposed to root for this guy, and yet like he's making fun of this guy because he likes something that maybe he doesn't like, or maybe he doesn't even know. Like it doesn't even seem like he's read the damn books before. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like don't talk shit about something unless you've actually like, you know, like like experienced it. Like I hate people like that just go like, oh, you like this, you gotta be an idiot then. It's like, well, did you read it? No? Then shut the fuck up then. How about that? Yeah, there's so much I hate about this movie. Like I think previously I was mentioning two actors or two parts about this movie that I kind of like, and those two are Simon Pegg and Mark Rylance. I believe he plays like the Willy Wonka, sort of like a founder of the Oasis, this virtual reality world that they're all inhabiting. Yeah, he plays this guy named Halliday, and he dies at some point during the course of the movie, or before the movie even starts. So like his presence looms over the whole course of the movie, and every scene that he's involved in, like I'm like, wow, this guy's a great actor, and I would have loved it if he was the main character to this movie, and it was about him making this Oasis thing, like this virtual reality world, along with Simon Pegg and Ben Mendelsohn, because every time they cut to flashbacks of those characters, I was fully invested. I felt like I gave a shit, you know, like, because it wasn't just spectacle and like remember this, remember that. It's like I don't care about all that shit. I just care about good story and good characters. And if you want to give me some good action to go along with it, that's fine. But the action in this is just, it's so mediocre, and it's so like visual effects reliant that I just grew numb to it. And the ending too. Let's talk about the ending. Like I said, I can go on for hours about this pile of shit movie. I fucking hate this movie so much. The ending is honestly one of the worst endings I've ever fucking seen to a movie since Robert Pattinson's Remember Me ending, which that is probably the peak end all be all worst fucking ending I've ever seen in my life. I'm actually surprised I didn't include that movie on here, because that Remember Me was definitely, I don't think I even considered it, but thinking about it now, maybe I should have threw it on here somewhere. But I'm fairly happy with the picks that I did, and I think that film got enough of a critical lashing when it came out in theaters, especially like once that ending rolled around, because that is just unacceptable bullshit that they pull at the end of that fucking movie. But the ending to Ready Player One, it basically ends with Wade Watts getting the girl. Of course, she's like the trophy, the prize that he gets for becoming this like millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, winning the contest, blah blah blah. And then like through like voiceover narration, which I hate. I hate it when movies end on like stupid voiceover narrations. Like it basically ends with him and her like sitting on a couch like making out with one another, like which like for a kids movie, it's like, wow, like there's a lot of like really mean spirited stuff in this movie. There's like abuse, like at one point, like I forget if it's his aunt or whatever, but like his aunt's, like Wade's aunt's boyfriend like literally backhands the kid. And it's like, okay, he's supposed to be like a teenager, like, but this like some 20-something-year-old. So I don't know how to react to this. I mean, like, I hate this movie, and the fucking ending is like just terrible. Just trying to piece it together and why I hate it. It's just scrambling my fucking mind like eggs, man. God, I hate these fucking movies so much. So it ends with him making out with his trophy prize girlfriend, and through narration, it's revealed that he's cutting off the Oasis from being played like every day. So instead of having it be like a free to play thing that you can go on anytime you want, 24/7, 7 days a week, I think he says that either he takes 1 or 2 days off per week, to where like he literally forces the players inside the Oasis to stop playing. Like, so they could be in the middle of doing something. They could be in the middle of like shooting hoops with their buddies across the world. They could be surfing, racing, whatever you could do in this thing. And he just decides, nope, I'm cutting it off on the day that I choose, which is like a Thursday or Friday or Saturday or some bullshit like that. And that pissed me off so fucking much, because I couldn't help but think about the world that they inhabit, like how shitty like this future looks. Like they start off the movie and you just see trailer upon trailer upon like rundown trailer like stacked on top of each other. I think they literally call this part of the city the stacks, because they're literally like stacked up like Lego blocks on top of one another. And it's just like, this is how you decide to end this movie, like by forcing people to stop playing this game that gives them a break from either the monotony of their everyday lives, maybe it's their one day off they get from work and they want to play this game, and oh no, we're taking this day off now from now on. And there's so many variables to it, and it just makes me think, like, why the hell did they choose to go with this ending? Like, this ending is so preposterously, like mean-spirited. I don't know what to describe it as. It feels very wrong to me, like, very, like, wrong-headed and stupid. Like really, you couldn't have sat down for just, like, a minute or two and think, maybe we shouldn't end with this fucking kid, like with all this money, all this power, all of a sudden deciding when people should stop playing this game. It's such a wrong-headed decision, and it made me hate the movie even more. And it kind of makes the villain out to be the good guy when you think about the movie again afterwards. Because, like, even though he's doing, like, these villainous things, keeping people in cages with VR sets around their head, it's like, at least he wasn't going to force people to stop playing the game, I guess. No, like, whatever. It's like the fact that I'm even thinking about rooting for the obvious fucking villain who literally keeps people like encased in these like glass like fucking tomb like things or whatever, or cylinders, if you will. And like the fact that I'm thinking about this guy as more of a protagonist than an antagonist, I mean that's kind of fucking crazy to me. Like, because like I don't like to actively root for the villain in a movie, to go out and get the hero, put him behind bars, man. Do your business tycoon thing. I want to see you win, and then that's another stupid thing. Like Ben Mendelsohn, for some reason, like at the end he's like brandishing a gun and he's planning on like just killing Wade. It's like, wait, what? Where the fuck did this come from? Why would he do this in front of all these people? He's just walking around with a gun, and he's like ready to shoot this kid. Are you fucking serious? This is bullshit, man. This is such schlock, and not in the good way. Like, because this movie, it takes itself so fucking seriously. And then it tries to have these comedic moments with all these references, and it's just like, oh my god, I hate this fucking movie so much. Like I said, I could go on for hours. I probably should have just made this a standalone review about this pile of shit movie, this overrated gunk, this shite. But no, fuck this movie. I'm done. I can't stand talking about it anymore. Number three is, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself with a lot of these movies, but I fucking hate this movie. This may be the first movie I remember seeing as a kid that I outright fucking hated, because I loved those first two Turtles movies. I really do. Like, I actually think I kind of like Secret of Ooze better. Like, even though it's obviously, it takes itself a little less seriously than the first movie. I think that's why I like it better, because they have all this ridiculous shit like Vanilla Ice, or like coming up with this impromptu turtle rap at the end. I love that movie. Like, I genuinely think it's like a notch or two better than the first movie. Like, because the first movie is so dark and so serious and brooding and shit like that. It was kind of nice, especially as a kid, like watching it, going like, it's cool to see the turtles, like just goofing around and having fun more, rather than like being depressed and yelling at each other, like that got annoying to me. And like, it was such a downer movie. Like, I understand why people love it, but like it's a very of its time movie. Like, it's almost got like this mean like spirit towards it, but thankfully the ending is good. Like where Shredder gets his comeuppance and shit like that. But it's still got like really weird shit of like kids smoking cigarettes, like and shit like that. It's just a bizarre movie. But Turtles 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, this movie's a pile of shit. And I'd be shocked to hear anybody like go on the hill and defend this steaming shit pile of a sequel. This was an abysmal way of ending the Turtles trilogy. Absolutely pathetic. The animatronics on the Turtles in this just look god awful. Man, I think the angry video game nerd James Rolfe, his review of this movie is absolutely spot on, perfect. Like I probably can't even like top his review of it. It's just the best review for this stinker. Like, this movie is genuinely just absolutely abysmal, absolutely fucking, and it's depressing too, because like they could have done so much with these characters. They have such a catalog of great characters that they could have used as the villains in this, but instead they come up with some stupid time travel fucking plot. And like, it feels like they just came up with that because they had all these sets and costumes left over from other fucking movies that the studio shot previously. And it's like, hey, instead of actually spending money on this movie that clearly people will go out and pay money for because the other two movies were big box office successes, instead of putting in the effort to make a great movie that fans will love, people in general will really like. Let's just fucking like throw all this bullshit in there about fucking samurais and this fucking guy riding around on a horse and fucking cowboy hat or whatever. Like these generic stock fucking villains. It's like, are you like, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, of all these fucking characters you got to work with, and you give us this. This is pathetic. Pathetic. Like, one of the, like I don't know what the hell the Turtles is based off of, whether comics, toys, cartoon. I don't know where it originates, like, nor did I ever really care. I was more so interested in the cartoons. I never had any of the toys. I like the movies, of course. But by God, like, what an embarrassment, like, for all that came before, you know, like, to make something as abysmal as this, like, just to shit on everybody that had any ounce of love for this franchise, whether it be for the toys or the comics or the cartoon series before it. This is just outright criminal. This is fucking criminal. And it's a really embarrassing movie that everybody involved should be embarrassed with. I'm pretty sure they even got the original actress from the first Turtles movies, from the first Turtles movie, back as April O'Neil, because I think she got recast in the sequel. So I was like, why the fuck are you back for this one? Like, you didn't want to come back for the one with Vanilla Ice, but you want to come back to this, like, which is just fucking garbage. Ugh, fucking fuckity fuck, man. We're in for some real shite with this one, and we're not even halfway fucking through yet. Number 4, Let Me In. One of the worst fucking horror remakes I've ever seen. How the hell this has got, like, overwhelmingly positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and shit like that just fucking pisses me off, man. The original is so much better than this steaming shit pile of an overrated dumpster fire. You can give me all the fucking, like, awesome cinematography shots you want. You know, you can make your film look as pretty as you want. Like, the cinematography is the best part about this movie. Let's get that out of the way. But other than that, this movie can go fuck itself. I hate the acting here. The acting is stiff, stale. Even a guy as great as Richard Jenkins, like who you'll remember as the father from Step Brothers and The Visitor, and he's been in a bunch of great movies before. Cabin in the Woods. Like, the guy's a phenomenal actor, but in this, like, he has nothing to do. Like, he hardly has any fucking dialogue. He's just slouching around, bumbling around, and like it's just so fucking, like, and even Casey Jones is in this, like, from the Turtles movies. Casey Jones is in this as a detective or something like that. I forgot about that. So that's a little connective tissue there. That's cool. But yeah, other than that, like, I fucking hate this movie. I fucking hate this movie, and I like these actors too. Like, a lot of the actors here, like Chloe Grace Moretz, Richard Jenkins, who I've mentioned before, Elias Koteas. A lot of these actors have done work that I really love. You know, like Chloe Grace Moretz. I think she maybe did this right after she did Kick-Ass. Or maybe like a couple of years after. But she's terrible in this. Like, she's absolutely fucking, like, stiff as a fucking log in this. Like, you guys are supposed to have chemistry. You're supposed to have fucking chemistry. You're not supposed to just, like, you say your line and I say mine. That's not how fucking relationships work in the real world. You know, like it seems just so stale and so phony. Like, their relationship in this. You compare that to the original, where everything felt authentic, beautifully done, wonderful movie. People couldn't watch that because, oh, it's got subtitles in it. Boo fucking who. So you picked this shit over that. Fuck you. And fuck this movie too. And fuck everybody involved with it. You know, like, fucking, like, Matt Reeves is the director of this. You know, hearing that, you know, like, and he's done good films before. I like Cloverfield And I'm pretty sure he did a few of those Planet of the Apes movies, which I liked as well. But this movie, man, as soon as I heard he was announced to direct this Robert Pattinson Batman movie, I was like, oh, fuck, no. He's going to make this so fucking boring and dark and depressing. And I'm still cautiously optimistic about that Batman movie. A lot of people were weary about the casting of Robert Pattinson, whereas I fucking loved that decision. I was absolutely guns blazing, like, go for it. I can't wait to see this guy as Batman. And already, like, just based off the teaser trailer we got of just like the Batsuit reveal, I really think that looks amazing. And the score behind it too, I love that score. I can't wait to hear the full thing. But this movie let me in. It did not give me hope at all for Matt Reeves being the director of this Batman movie. I was really upset with that decision at first, but looking at his other movies, I think he'll do a great job with Batman. But this movie, this movie's literally one of the worst horror remakes out there, in my opinion. Like I said, you can make it as beautiful as you want to, but that doesn't change the fact that your end product is so fucking stale and so mean-spirited. Like, I can't stress enough how much I hate movies where, like, they have these bully characters and they're so over the top and, like, violent towards the characters that we're supposed to like, that it's sad, and it leaves you like feeling like shit at the end of the movie. It's like why? Like, why are all these people so cruel to this little boy? Like, it's just disgusting to watch shit like that in movies, and I fucking hate movies that try to do that. Like, give me some sort of character behind this bully at least, instead of just like, oh, he wants to kill this kid now? Like, go fuck yourself, man. I fucking hate movies like this. Fuck. Ugh. Next fucking movie, because this shit's pissing me off. Fuck this Let Me In movie. Number 5, another one. Fucking shit, all of these. Number 5, Christmas with the Cranks. Fuck this movie. Fuck everybody involved in this movie. I love these actors too. Tim Allen, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dan Aykroyd. What a fucking waste of great actors. Fucking pathetic movie. Pathetic excuse for a Christmas movie, man. Pathetic. If you watch this regularly around the holidays, God help you. Fucking heaven save you. This is one of the worst fucking Christmas movies ever, if not the fucking worst. The only thing I think that could come even close to how bad this film is like some shit like fucking Jack Frost. I'm not talking about the Michael Keaton one. I'm talking about the murdering snowman one. However, both of those movies are pretty fucking bad overall. This movie, though, I can't get over it. Like, thinking about at least the majority of these movies are just so fucking mean-spirited. And I can't stand movies that are mean-spirited, especially when they don't have a fucking point. You know? This movie, basically, the whole neighborhood they live in, they're so obsessed with Christmas that every house, like, has decorations galore. Like, thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of fucking Christmas decorations, and it's so vapid and it's so pathetic, and you're just watching this like, I'm supposed to like these guys and I'm supposed to root against Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis because they're trying to go on vacation to get away from this fucking craziness. Are you kidding me? Like, it's mind-numbing. And then the daughter's the worst part about this movie. She's the one who goes on vacation to begin with, which kind of inspires the parents to do so. Because she's like going to see her foreign boyfriend, some bullshit, and then she decides last minute, hey guys, a day or two before Christmas, I'm coming back to celebrate Christmas. And it's, my fucking God, I fucking hate this, all these fucking movies, man. I really think I picked like a great lot of movies. Holy fuck, it's been a while since I've been this fucking angry. And I'd be genuinely shocked if somebody came up to me and told me straight in my face, I loved Christmas with the Cranks. I would probably have to laugh myself into a fucking coma if somebody told me that, because this movie sucks so many fucking dicks. I hate this movie. Fucking hate this movie. From the stupid, like, Santa Claus reveal at the end to the pseudo, like, positive, uplifting message about celebrating Christmas with your whole family and community at the end. It's just, it's so stupid, wrong-headed, baloney bullshit. I fucking hate this movie. Like, and I feel bad for these actors, but then again, they all got paid a large amount of fucking money to be in this shite. So they can go fuck themselves for this shit pile of a fucking movie. Next one. Another fucking movie with one in the title. I got a one for you. The Power of One. Number 6. The Power of One. This has got Stephen Dwarf in it. Morgan Freeman. Daniel Craig in one of his first on-screen performances. And by God, this movie, I'd relate it to something like Full Metal Jacket in that the first half of the movie's about one thing and then the other half's about another. Like, where the first half of Full Metal Jacket's about the drill sergeant and him, like, training these guys to be soldiers. The last half is like a war film. Like, that's why I'm kind of half and half on that movie. Like, I love the first half of Full Metal Jacket. I find it tough to watch Full Metal Jacket all the way through because, like, they feel like such different movies by the end of the drill sergeant storyline with Gover Pyle. But The Power of One, it doesn't benefit at all from having a great first half. In fact, like, the first half and the second one, like, I'm not even sure which is worse. Like, the first half at least has Morgan Freeman, but he's, as much as I love him, and he's not bad in this movie, but he hardly has any material to work with here. He's just like a slave or something like that, and it takes place in South Africa somewhere, and it's about this little white boy. It's not quite Stephen Dorff at this point yet. It's some child fucking actor who's terrible. And, like, he's training with Morgan Freeman, like, something to do with boxing and shit like that. Because, like, by the time he turns into the Stephen Dorff actor, the character, like, he's in, like, boxing, and he's boxing with black guys and shit like that. And it's supposed to be, like, uplifting and inspiring. And it's not. It's, like, this generic white savior bullshit that I fucking hate about these stupid movies that try to fucking... like, say, like, racism is bad. Like, obviously, we fucking know that racism is bad, you stupid fucking idiots. What are we, fucking retarded? Like, are you stupid? Like, fucking racism is bad. What a world-changing message that is. Racism, bad. No shit, Sherlock. Fucking genius. Fucking hell. But the first half of the movie is so mind-numbingly mean-spirited. And I'll be saying that a lot with these next coming fucking movies too, probably. Mean-spirited beyond belief. Like, there's a scene that just made me absolutely sick. It's one of the most vile, sickening fucking scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I think it's Daniel Craig's piece of shit character. He's got shit on the bottom of his shoe, or on the top of it, or whatever. And he has Morgan Freeman's character on his hands and knees, like in the dirt, and he's like either pushing his face in it, and then when he lifts his face up, like he basically tells Morgan Freeman to eat the shit off of his shoe or else he's gonna kill him. And then not only that, but they literally start the movie with these bastard kids, like, chopping a chicken's head off, you know, like, so like it's shit like that. And I remember as a kid, I think I watched this in high school, like either in grade 9 or 10, something like that, early high school years. I think our gym teacher showed us this movie because it had to do with boxing and whatnot. Maybe like, I think there were some kids involved in the boxing program at our school. So I think that's why he showed us the movie. And while I normally liked, you know, obviously not doing schoolwork, watching this movie made me wish that I was doing schoolwork instead, because it left me feeling just so dour and so depressed by the end of it. Like, I look back on this movie and I genuinely think that this might just be the fucking worst movie I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, I feel so bad for Morgan Freeman, like, being in this movie, like, just like literally being on his hands and knees eating shit off somebody's shoe. It's like, this guy, he deserves better roles than this fucking bullshit. Like, it makes me so sad that you that you waste an actor as precious to us as Morgan Freeman in such a disgusting fucking waste of a role that tries to be like about like fucking like racism and shit like that, and yet it has nothing to say. It literally ends like on a whimper. Like the last half is just this generic boxing movie with this stupid fucking teenage love story and it's all this bullshit. Fuck this movie. Need a fucking drink of this shit, man. Fuck all these movies, motherfucker. Ah, fuck's sakes. Number 7. Meet the Parents, man. Meet the Parents. What the fuck do I gotta say about this one? There's nothing worse than a bad comedy. You know? Nothing worse than a fucking bad comedy. And there's also nothing worse than a overrated bad comedy. When I saw the reviews for this on Rotten Tomatoes, how fucking positive they were, like, I think this is sitting at something ridiculous, like an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, and like over a million fucking audience ratings. And it's above like 75% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes in regards to the audience ratings. What the fuck planet do I live on where people actually like this bullshit? Again, this is similar in regards to Christmas with the Cranks. This is one of those fucking movies where, like, God, it's so fucking down and mean-spirited, and you're somehow supposed to like these fucking characters. It's like, yes, I like these actors. I like De Niro. I like Stiller. I like the whole cast involved here. Like, Owen Wilson's in it, too. Like, Owen Wilson's probably the best part about it, and he's hardly in the fucking movie. But by God, like, I just remember thoroughly being, like, shocked at how much I hated this movie and how, like, stupid every fucking character was. From the stupid, like, flight attendant bitch at the end of the movie who's so fucking annoying. It's like, just shut the fuck up and give me my fucking plane ticket, you stupid idiot. Like, from the generic, like fight, you know, where like Ben Stiller's fighting with his wife because like of some stupid misunderstanding that always fucking happens in these stupid fucking movies. Fuck. To the whole like fucking joke, like this stupid joke about like Ben Stiller's real name being Gaylord, and like them all like making it like a fucking joke, like Gaylord Fokker. It's like, ha ha ha, that's so fucking funny. Ha ha ha. His name is Gaylord Fokker. How fucking great. What a fucking hoot. What a fucking great comedy, eh? Like this is the shit that people fucking like, see in droves at the fucking movie theaters and praise this shit. Give me a fucking break. This movie's garbage. I fucking hate this movie. If you fucking like this movie, fuck right off with it. Take this movie to the fucking dumpster fire and fucking burn it. Fuck this movie and fuck everybody involved in this piece of shit. Fuck. And all these fucking movies can go fuck themselves while I'm at it. I'd love to keep a counter of how many times I say fuck in this video, by the way. I'm not editing this either. I don't give a shit. I was planning on editing this video, but at this point, like literally you're seeing me come to the realization that I'm not gonna fucking bother because it's not worth it. Talking about these shit pile movies, I don't want to have to look up their fucking posters. I don't want to have to look up these fucking stupid actors. I don't want to have to look up anything to do with these movies ever again after I'm done talking about this bullshit. Fuck this. Number 8, Warm Bodies. Like, people can say that Twilight's one of the worst fucking movies, one of the worst franchises in history, but to them I say, have you seen this pile of shit? Like, have you seen this? Like, you think Twilight's bad? At least Twilight has some, like, decent acting. Like, say what you will about Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart. I think they're fine, at least in that first movie. I've only ever seen the first movie. I haven't seen the sequels, but I'd be interested in seeing the last one because apparently, like, they have this battle on on this Iceland or whatever, and like a lot of the main characters get killed off in shocking ways, like they get their heads ripped off and shit, I hear. But then all of a sudden it just turns out to be like this like fantasy that the main antagonist is having, like some sort of like he's looking in like a crystal ball, sort of like the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz, and he's just like, oh, so this is how it's gonna turn out. Well, I guess we're gonna have to not do battle with the vampires and the werewolves then. It's so stupid that I kind of want to see that last movie just to see how ridiculous that scene is. But yeah, going back to number 8, Warm Bodies here. Fucking hell, man. I mean, it's one thing to have a love story about, you know, a vampire or a teenage girl falling in love with a vampire. You know, you can understand that because vampires don't look like monsters. They have fangs, sure, but, you know, notoriously they just look like normal people unless they're like Nosferatu or something fucked up like that. But this, you're telling me that a girl falls in love with a zombie. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And I can suspend my disbelief with movies. Like, I'm not that much of a fucking, like, diehard nitpicker, you know? If you invest me into the characters, if I like these characters, if I like where you're going with the story, if I like these actors, I'm fine with it. You know, I could buy this premise if it was done in a more horror movie sense, but this movie plays more as a comedy, which I find is very stupid, very fucking wrong-headed. I think it looks like shit. Like the movie's like got this gray, dark blue color palette throughout it. It looks drab and dreary and disgusting. Like which I guess is the point because it's supposed to be about zombies set during the apocalypse, but it doesn't make for pleasant viewing, especially when you're trying to make this a comedy. And this is another movie, just like Meet the Parents, just like Let Me In, just like Ready Player One, that gets like shockingly positive reviews. Like a quarter of people that saw it maybe hated it, and of course I'm a part of that quarter, that 25% of people that absolutely fucking hate this movie. Because, like, what the hell people see in this movie that they like, I don't know. The one thing I could say good about this movie is that I like Rob Corddry as the main zombie's friend. I think his name is just M. You know, they hardly talk, but some of the scenes involving him and the main actor, Nicholas Hoult, whatever his character's name is, like, some of the scenes they have are cute. And just like I was saying with Ready Player One, how I'd rather have Mark Rylance's character be the lead actor, the lead character, I'd rather have Rob Corddry be the lead character here. Like, I always liked him as an actor. He's great in Hot Tub Time Machine. And I think he was on The Daily Show back in the day as well with Jon Stewart. And yeah, I like him a lot in this movie, but the rest of the cast, even John Malkovich, he's just like one note in this movie. He's just like dictator guy who just wants to kill every zombie. And it's like, yeah, like I understand his plight because zombies killed his wife and like his daughter's the lead female love interest. And with these fucking movies, man, like it's always the same generic bullshit. It's always this generic looking white dude falls in love, or the generic looking white girl falls in love with the generic looking white guy. You could literally like copy and paste these fucking actors into these different roles, and it's just like, fuck off. Like if you want to like at least spice things up, like not only like diversify this cast, like make them black, make them Asian, whatever you want to do, like just do something. Like, don't make them just generic fucking white guys. This fucking whole cast is like whitewashed. Like, I don't even think I saw a single black person in here. And if they were, like, they're like extreme side characters that hardly had fucking dialogue, or like they're the generic like friend character who like, yeah, like you're in love with that zombie, that's great. Fuck off with these bullshit fucking movies and these milquetoast fucking actors, man. Like, and again, I don't want to disparage these actors. Like I think they're fine. Like, they've all done work that I've really enjoyed in the past. Like, from Teresa Palmer to Nicholas Hoult to John Malkovich to Rob Corddry. I like all these these guys. Even the director, I think he made a movie. I think his name is Jonathan Levine. I did a quick look at Rotten Tomatoes to see his filmography, and if I recall, I might be mistaken because I'm not going to look it up now because I don't want to take 5 minutes or whatever looking it up. But I believe this director made a movie that I really loved with Josh Peck and Ben Kingsley called The Whackness, and that is a really awesome fucking movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. But this, I was shocked, at how bad this was. This feels like a fucking studio movie. This feels like he didn't give a shit about directing this movie because everything's so flat and so it just reeks of pretentiousness, you're supposed to believe in a zombie falling in love with a girl. It's I don't buy this. I can buy a deaf girl who something to do with water, she's attracted to water or something like that. I could buy The Shape of Water where this deaf girl falls in love with this sea creature. Oddly enough, I can buy that, but I can't buy a fucking brain-eating zombie getting this hot blonde chick to fall in love with him. It just doesn't make sense to me. Especially after he kills her boyfriend. Basically they're in the same room, but I don't even think she notices. I forget if it's even brought up in this movie later. The fact that our lead character, who's a zombie, kills Dave Franco, eats his brains, and he gets Dave Franco's character's memories, and that's part in what makes him sort of fall in love with the lead female character. What? No. That's just creepy to me. I don't... I'm very disturbed by this movie and the fact that it's played as a comedy. If this was a fucking horror movie, this could have been really fucking great. This movie's PG-13. PG fucking 13, motherfucker. How the hell did they get away with some of this shit? They're eating people's brains. They got a lot of disgusting shit in this movie, man. It's a very disgusting looking movie. I fucking hate it. And fuck it. I'm done talking about this. Whew. Okay. Number two. I'm looking at the fact that this is a sequel, realizing that it's number 2 in a franchise here that didn't need to be a franchise to begin with, you fucking asshole. Number 9, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Again, there's nothing I hate more than a bad fucking comedy. Just like Warm Bodies, just like Meet the Parents, Christmas with the Cranks, all this bullshit, all these bullshit comedies that come out. You can tell me 1,000 times over how bad obviously shitty movie Scary Movie is, or Movie 43, or all these bullshit movies, all these stupid parody movies like Disaster Movie and shit like that. I don't consider those movies. Those movies literally have zero effort put in to it, Zero energy, zero effort, low energy throughout, all around. Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. This has a great cast, great crew, everybody involved, basically everybody. Bring them back from the original movie. You got all the pieces in place to make a great movie. But this is fucking SNL level crap. This is worse than SNL in my opinion. This is bottom of the barrel, knockoff SNL type shit. This is I maybe laughed once in this movie, and I can't even remember what the hell it was because I think it was just to break up my bewilderment at how unfunny this movie was. Honestly, I fucking it's a movie like this and all the movies that he's done recently that make me hate Will Ferrell. He might just be my least favorite actor working in Hollywood today. He just strikes me as the most fart sniffing, pretentious pile of shit actor out there, because he just doesn't seem to give a shit about what he's churning out to his audiences anymore. You can say what you will about Adam Sandler and the whole Adam Sandler gang and whatnot, but at least they acknowledge the fact that they make bad movies. Adam Sandler even joked after he didn't get an Oscar nomination for for Uncut Gems that, well, if he didn't get an Oscar nomination, which he of course didn't, he was going to go ahead and make like the worst movie he possibly could. And, you know, him coming out and saying stuff like that, I respect the guy for that, because at least he's telling you in advance, like, don't expect me to, you know, put in the effort. You know, if you don't, like, if you don't want to support, you know, me doing this type of work, then fuck you. I'm going to make you critics suffer for this. I'm going to make you Academy voters suffer for this. And I really respect Adam Sandler for that. Whereas Will Ferrell, like, he just strikes me as such a has-been now. Like, even looking at his face, I mean, I'm shocked that he hasn't played like a villain in some sort of horror movie, because I do think he's a good actor. I'm not saying like I hate him as an actor. I just think as a person, he just strikes me as a greedy like guy who's got enough money as it is, and he just wants more. Like, he's just on that Bruce Willis type of career path now, where every movie he's in now, he's just going to play Will Ferrell, screaming his fucking head off in shit like Holmes and Watson and all this fucking trash that he's in now. Like, the guy is so fucking lazy, and he really brings down this movie. Like, he looks like shit in this movie. Like, he looks old, frail, tired, bitter, like, unfunny as all hell. Like, I hate the guy. Like, I fucking hate him. And I hate him as this character, too. Like, whereas the first movie, I really loved the first movie. In fact, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. Hey, Audrey. I'm keeping you here so you don't, So, even though I love the first Anchorman movie, like, this movie was just... Thank God for this cat, you know? Thank God for this beautiful cat here, I tell you. Because if it wasn't for her, I'd be going crazy in this fucking quarantine, you know? Like, especially while I'm talking about these absolutely awful movies. Hey, Audrey, what do you think about Anchorman? Huh? What do you think about Anchorman 2? Nah, even worse, eh? That's my baby. That's my beautiful girl. Yeah, but Anchorman 2, I was absolutely shocked with how bad it was. I remember I went out, bought the DVD. I'm not even sure which version I watched, because the DVD or the Blu-ray, it always has these stupid like extended versions and shit like that. So I may be talking about like the super deluxe R-rated ultimate director Snyder cut extended version of this fucking vile movie. I don't know, nor do I give a shit, because I'll never fucking watch this again. Like, it makes me never want to watch the original again. Like, as much as I love that movie, this movie just left me feeling so mad, like, with how lazy it was, that it's like, I don't know if I want to even go back to watch that original fucking movie. Like, I can't stand this movie, and I can't stand Will Ferrell anymore. I tell you, the day, though, that'll hopefully make me change my tune about Will Ferrell is the day where he plays a villain in a movie. I'd love to see him play a bad guy, because he has that, like I don't know if anybody else sees it, but he has that creepy look about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he strikes me as a creepy dude, you know? Like, I'm surprised during all this Me Too hoopla throughout Hollywood, like, I'm surprised his name didn't pop up. Like I hate saying that about people, but he just strikes me as one of those, like, weirdos, you know? Like, very strange dude, you know? I don't know if I'd want to be at a party at his house, like, all by myself, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if I trust the guy. But he has his fans, I mean, and me talking shit about him isn't going to change shit. He's going to keep churning out the same gobbledygook garbage that he's been doing for the past fucking decade now. He's lazy, he's a has-been. And I just hope he can fucking break out of this rut that he's in, because he really just doesn't seem to give a flying fuck anymore. And I'm sick of these actors that keep working just to make a fucking paycheck. You look at Harrison Ford, it's the same thing. You look at Bruce Willis, it's the same thing. Once in a while they'll do a good movie here and there, but then they'll do all this directed DVD shit, And it's like, why the fuck are you doing this, guys? You have a life to live. You have millions upon millions of fucking dollars. You can't just take a fucking yacht and go cruise somewhere. You can't just go on vacation. Well, of course you can't now because we're all in fucking quarantine, unfortunately. But back when you had these fucking resources, you couldn't just say, oh, I want to stay at home. You know, like I want to like build up a beautiful like environment for myself and my family, you know? I don't want to have to do this Hollywood bullshit anymore. Look at Dave Chappelle. He's the perfect example. That's why I love that guy so much. I love guys like him and Denzel Washington that stay out of the Hollywood limelight, that stay out of all this bullshit. They do movies that appeal to them. They like Dave Chappelle like does like stuff that appeals to him. Like even he does movies once in a while. He was in A Star Is Born, which was a fucking amazing movie, and he's great in it. It was so good to see Dave Chappelle back in a movie in some capacity. Like he's not in it much, but it was nice to see him. It's like, hey, you know, I love Dave Chappelle. I love this guy. I could watch this guy in anything. You know, and same goes with a bunch of other actors. But Will Ferrell, like, throw in the towel, motherfucker. Like, you suck. Like, your comedy is shit. Like, you've never been funny. You've always been reliant on a script. Like, always. Like, you can go on all these talk shows and all these punks like fucking Jimmy Fallon and all these other idiots can laugh at you. Ha ha ha, you're so funny, Will Ferrell. But in my eye, you're not shit, buddy. I can't stand you, and you've always had to rely on a good script in order to sell your shtick. And I'm sick and tired of your fucking bullshit. I'm sick and tired of your lame-ass excuses for fucking movies. Oh, okay. After that Will Ferrell rant, number 10, final fucking movie here, American Honey. I like all the I like half of these movies, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these movies on here got positive ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, other sites like that, I reckon. Metacritic. So, let's start with the fact that this movie's 3 hours long. 3 fucking hours long. Read between the fucking lines. That's bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. 3 hours fucking long for a movie like this. The reason why I wanted to watch this movie is because it's about door-to-door sales. Okay, so before all this pandemic bullshit happened, I was a door-to-door salesperson. I probably talked about it, alluded to it on here before. Being in door-to-door sales, you know, you don't really see a lot of movies about door-to-door sales. You see a lot of movies maybe about sales, you know, like Boiler Room, Wolf of Wall Street, Glengarry Glen Ross. You know, nothing really that depicts door-to-door salespeople literally walking around neighborhoods, knocking on doors, pitching people at the door, you know, like getting rejected, like there's a lot of stuff you can mine from door-to-door sales. So I'm shocked that there haven't been more movies about it, and I hope that in the future, like we get more movies about, you know, this line of work, because I think it's a very underrepresented line of work when it comes to film in general, and I think a lot of filmmakers could really mine a lot of great material from this career path. This movie had me excited, me and my friend excited for seeing it because of that notion. We obviously work together in this field. You know, we're used to the driving around, we're used to the selling door to door, pitching, the aggression some people take at the door, and this movie displays none of that. None of that. None of that. Basically what it boils down to, this is about a little bitch of a main character who I can't stand. Her name is Star because she's got a fucking tattoo of a star on her fucking shoulder. Of course. That's the only character's name I remember, by the way. Shia LaBeouf's playing Shia LaBeouf. I swear to God he went on this movie just so he could fondle a bunch of a couple of attractive actresses. Like this lead girl is fairly attractive. I think her name's Sasha Lane. And the other blonde chick, I think her name is Riley Keough or something like that. She's in Lars von Trier's new movie, House That Jack Built. She's great in that, just in a supporting role. And I like all the actors here, but the material they have to work with is so like one note. It's so one dimensional. These characters are literally just they feel like they're in an endless loop of repeating themselves. Maybe that's the point of the movie. Like, and of all the movies that I got listed on here, I think this is the one movie where I could understand wholeheartedly why people would like this movie. I sure don't. Like, but I think it's because of my bias towards the fact that I've worked in this field before, so I know the ins and outs of it, and it kind of sat with me the wrong way. The fact that they only seem to really develop like three of these characters when they got like all these other characters along the side who are played by naturalistic actors that, if given better material, better dialogue, I think they could have done well with it. But essentially, all the side characters are just boiled down to like things they like. Like, one character has a Star Wars shirt, and they say like outright like, "I love Star Wars. How about you?" It's like, really, that's what we're doing here. That's our replacement for character development. This character likes so and so, so blah blah blah. Like, there's so much going for this movie. Like, I like some of the opening scenes. I like some of the soundtrack choices. There's a great scene early on in a Kmart, I believe, where Shia LaBeouf's character is introduced, and like our lead actress is sort of like following him along because she's attracted to him, and she's walking around with these kids that she's babysitting. And Shia LaBeouf notices her eyeballing him, and he starts like dancing to the song "We Found Love in a Hopeless Place" by Rihanna. And it's a very charming, romantic little scene that makes you think, oh, you know, this movie's going to be kind of sweet, ain't it? And it just goes to show, like, I wish this film had less dialogue, I guess, because some of the dialogue here is just so like beat you over the head and so obnoxious and pretentious. And again, like, maybe it's meant to be that way. Like, I don't want to fully disparage this movie as much as I've done with these previous 9 like absolute dumpster fire movies. Like, these movies fucking suck. This movie is the one where I could at least like feel like I feel like maybe if I revisit this at some point, like 5 years from now, when it's like fresh out of my mind, maybe I might have a new perspective of it. Because just like with Jonathan Levine, I believe his name was, the director of Warm Bodies, and Matt Reeves from Let Me In. These guys have made movies that I've loved before, and this is actually a female director. I believe her name is Andrea Arnold, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if I am. But she made this wonderful fucking movie that is one of my favorites of all time. It's called Fish Tank, and it's a similar sort of story, except you know, that film's like, I believe, an hour and a half, so it's like very lean, and like it's maybe 2 hours at most, but it feels a lot shorter than it probably is. And that movie's great. That movie, like this, has a great supporting cast, great cast overall. I believe it's an unknown actress in the lead role. Michael Fassbender's in it as like and it sort of like the lead character, who's a girl. Like, her mother like starts dating Michael Fassbender. And it's basically just this coming of age story, and it's very well done. It's very charming at points, very raw, realistic, shocking at others, and it's everything that I wanted American Honey to be. Was Fish Tank, and like, American Honey is nowhere near as good as Fish Tank. That movie is a classic. That movie, I hope, is on the Criterion Collection someday, because I think that movie's a fucking masterpiece. But this movie, man, I mean, like, it had so much going for it, whether it be the awesome cinematography and the way, like, I love the, like, it's got the 4:3, like, I think it's like the box, like, angle, sort of like movies like The Lighthouse and the Witch, or the Bubavitch, the Bubitch, if you will, or whatever that's called. But it's sort of like that, where like the two sides of your TV will be like black bars, like, unless you got one of those like old like box TVs, maybe. I'm not sure how that would show up on like an old square like box TV, but it's basically just a square picture. And it looks great. Like I said, it's got a great soundtrack to it. And like the premise is interesting. It's just they don't do enough with it, and it goes off the rails. Like to just be about like this girl like doing all this rebellious like bullshit that didn't make sense to me. And again, I'm repeating myself. Like that might have been the point, but it didn't stick with me. It didn't land with me. It didn't feel real to me. It didn't feel like authentic in any regard whatsoever, in my opinion. It just felt very pretentious, very phony, and there's so much repetition to this movie. You know, they go to an area, they knock on one door, they go inside the house, they steal stuff, they leave. She's berated for not selling well by the driver chick or the crew leader. So the next day, like when she's working with Shia LaBeouf, she takes off in some cowboy's car to go to a barbecue, and she sells a bunch of the magazines there. And then Shia LaBeouf comes, somehow finds her in the backyard and starts brandishing a gun and threatens to kill the guys, and runs away with her. And then they go back to the hotel that they're staying at. Then they drive to the next place, and then similar thing happens. She goes with this truck driver. She does something for money, and Shia LaBeouf comes out brandishing a gun again and fucking like harasses the guy. Like, and it's just like it feels like it just repeats itself too often, and it's like it has no effect at the end of the movie. They're literally all just holding hands around a campfire singing Kumbaya by the end of the movie. It's really fucking lame. Like, it's a really unearned ending, unearned happy ending at that, because like these characters do like a lot of very like bad things throughout this movie, whether it be stealing people, pointing guns at people, leaving your kids alone, like not taking care of the kids or whatever, blah blah blah. I mean, it's just it's not that pleasant of a movie, you know. And I wouldn't want people watching this and being inspired by this type of shit, you know, to be like, oh yeah, I want to go do what this girl does and just be a free spirit, and like oh, we're doing all this shot, like the posters, her like with her arms like this, oh, like I'm a free bird, you can't hold me back. And like it strikes me as so pretentious and so like stupid. I hated this movie. But again, I could see what people would gain out of it. I think some people, like, especially women, like may like this movie more than I did. I'm not sure who this would appeal to really, because of course I hate it. And yeah, like that's enough about these movies. This was a real challenge to make, you guys. 10 films that I kind of hate, and by God, I gotta talk about something positive the next time I'm on here with you guys, because I can't do this shit anymore. Anyhow, thank you guys if you listened all the way through this. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody.